Thank you for tuning in to Isaiah 61 Ministry Center in 8 Mile, Alabama. The following is a word from our most recent Sunday service. We pray it's a blessing to you.
As I said that the Lord changed this message, and I said, why, God? It's not the first time he done this. And probably won't be the last time. Because God knows what he's dealing with. He knows he is going to be here who needs to hear this certain word. Got up and I just said, okay, God, wherever it's at, throw it to me. And I opened my Bible and he said, there you are. And I went to Mark chapter 5. Lord said today we need to set some goals on your healing. There's 5 things today that we must do. In Mark chapter 5, verse 25, he took me back to this little lady that said a concerned woman had a flow of blood. Some translation says with an issue of blood for 12 years and has suffered many things from many physicians. You know, that's what some days and nowadays we go through. We're seeing these physicians, and some days it's not happening. We don't see anything. All we doing it's happening in this day because all we doing is spending our money. And some days we're not getting nowhere with our help. She had spent all she had and was no better, but rather she grew worse. Now, in verse 27 said, when she heard about Jesus, come on now. I've heard him too. I've heard about him. When I wanted to give up, somebody said, Jesus. Jesus. That's when I said, okay, God, I've done everything I could. We got to realize something that I got a message on prayers where I can't do it. I give it, God can. But when she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, if only I can touch his clothes, I'll be made whole. As I've said, there's 5 things today I want to go over. Number 1, we got to have a vision of our healing. We need to visualize our healing. Without this vision, people perished. Proverbs 29 and 18. Without a vision, people perish. As this lady here, I believe that her mind, I don't want to get too far, but she had a vision of what she wanted to do. Number 2 was she was determined. I'm going to put them 2 together. Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ that gives me strength. She was determined for her healing. She didn't care what she had to go through. In a minute, I want Steve and Pastor James join me in just a minute. But when she heard that Jesus was in town, and let me get something straight. There's a lot of people, when they hear that a certain minister is in town, what they do, they go running. We have to be careful there. But when she heard that Jesus was there, I believe that she had her mind made up. She said, okay, the doctors had told me everything. Nothing helped. They stealing all of my money. But when Jesus was there, she said, I'm going to see him. She's trusting in God. Now, I believe then she started already receiving her miracle right then. Because she's going to see the main one that really can help her. Because she said here, if I could just get there and touch the hem of his garment, she said, I know I'll be made whole. You know, I went through some illness a year or two ago. I thank God because I reached out to him. I believe God that he's going to heal me. Look at me today, going back to work. I thought I'd never go back. But when we realize that we can't do anything, we need to trust God. And I want Pastor James and Stephen to come up here a minute. I want y'all to stand right here side by side. Right here. You're right in the middle of the aisle. I got to have some room. Y'all don't body slam me too hard. But this lady here, she was willing, number 3, was willing to do whatever to fight. If you look at this, 2 Timothy 4, I've fought a good fight, okay? She was going to fight no matter what it takes. You know, if you read on, there many people, with Jesus, they followed after him. And I believe him, as I read this and I keep reading it over and over again, when she got to that crowd, she went to looking. There's crowds everywhere. She couldn't get through to them. She fought. She tried to go this way. She tried to go that way. She keeps trying to do. She said, I'm going to get through that. I'm not going to get on my knees and crawl today, but I believe that when she got down on that ground, y'all sit down. Y'all ain't. But when she said, I'm not giving up, she said, I'm getting through. I'm going after my healing. Church, what is it going to take for you to press through? You know, we pressed through for 2 or 3 years. Okay, it's been 2 or 3 years. I give up. I'm going to sit down. God didn't call us to quit. He called us to press. How to press? Let me tell you this. Before he was crucified on that cross, when he carried that cross, he pressed through to Golgotha. He was whipped, he was kicked, he was beaten and bruised. But he pressed on to where he knows that's the end. But he knew where he was going. He said, I'll be back after you. I'm coming back. But church, we got to press. We got to fight. If it takes like the woman when she crawled in through that crowd and she said, if I'm going to touch the hem just a little bit. I believe if she couldn't get to him, I believe she got a little piece of thread. And I believe when she touched him, I know she was made whole because it says right here. And her fight was right there. And number 4, it was a point of contact. Point of contact. When she touched him, her healing started, because if you read on, I want to read verse 30. Let me start at 29. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the infection. In verse 30, Jesus, immediately knowing himself, I got a note here that says virtue. What is virtue? Virtue means power. Himself, that power had gone out of him when she touched him. I can imagine like a volt of electricity leaving his body and entering into her. He said immediately, somebody touched me. He said, who turned around in a crowd and said, who touched me? You know, I imagine his disciples told him, there's hundreds of people here. Everybody's touching you. But Jesus knew one thing, one person, when they touched, because the power left his body. If you want to read verse 31, the disciple said in him, I see multitude thronging you. He said, but who touched me? I could just see that little woman crawling in mud. If it was raining, nastiness, road, dirt, filth, garbage. She didn't care what she goes through. Church, if we are fighting for a miracle this morning, we're going to go through no matter what. Because your miracle, your healing, is just right on the other side. But we got to fight to get to it. Can't give up. But that point of contact was all it took. Her willing to sacrifice no matter what, drug through the dirt. I wish I had somebody I could just drug through here. But man, listening to your testimony, God brought you here for a reason. When they was up here praying for you, I'm going to tell you right now, I heard some chains fall in the ground. God is lifting some weights off of you. But church, no matter what you're going through, don't give up. Press through. Press through. He said, I'm taking a step. The Lord said, tell somebody, you keep stepping and you step. And the more you step, you're getting closer. You're getting stronger. We play that game. The more you step, you're getting hotter to where you're going to try to find. Lord said, once you keep stepping, I'm standing here at the end of this line. You walk through this line. You press through. You keep your faith and your eyes upon me, because don't look to the right. Don't look to the left. You step and you're stepping. He said, and sooner or later, you're going to reach this line. And when you do, I'm there. He said, you might be tired and you're weary. But guess what? When you get here, come here. When you get here, I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to lift you up. He said, just to know one thing, I got you. And it doesn't stop there. You remember the picture frame? One set of footprints. And when I see one set, he said, because I'm carrying you. He said, once you start stepping, you get to that finish line, when you can't go no more, I'm there. And I believe the Lord is picking you up. When he picks you up off the ground, he's putting you on his back. And he's going to carry you. If you're here this morning and you need a special touch from God in your healing, let me tell you, those that are getting baptized today, that's a part of your healing right there. We're going to drown the old stuff and all new things that's coming to life. If you need a special touch this morning, you need prayer, I want you to get up and come here.